So before we jump into the actual topic of culture and corporate culture, tell us a little bit about you. Kind of what do you do today? But even more importantly, how did you get here?
Okay, so I was born in Mexico City, and my dad ran a company down there, and we just happened to be born in Mexico. So, Viva Mexico! Mm-hmm. And then I
told Isaac he has to talk to you in Spanish.
In Spanish,
I won't know.
Yeah.
I'll know bits and pieces, but
he's going to say, "Yo amo America." Yeah, I love the team America, the football team. So I went to high school in Austin, Texas, and then went to college in South Carolina at Furman University. And then my first job out of college was selling chiclets. And
chiclets, the gum.
The gum, right. So I was in sales. I had an interview, and the guy said, "We've got a job. It's in a really bad neighborhood around Washington, D.C." He said, "A lot of people have not taken the job because of that. Are you willing to take the job?" And I said, "Absolutely." I said, "It's my first job. I'm going to take it." I started working as a chiclets rep, and we sold Trident Dentine, Rolaids, Halls, and I was in some bad neighborhoods. And the good thing about working in bad neighborhoods is if you dress nicely, they think you're the manager. So every store I'd go in, they'd treat me really nicely because they thought I was a store manager. And I was coming to or the district manager, and I was coming to check the stores. So everybody treated me very nicely. And my boss, I started to worry because I thought he didn't like me, and I thought he didn't like my performance. I thought he was going to fire me, as a matter of fact. And a friend of mine said to me, he goes, "John, are you getting your check every couple Saturdays?" And I said, "Yes." He says, "Then don't worry about it. When it doesn't show up, then you worry."
So why were you worried? What was leading you to worry?
Because my boss wouldn't spend a lot of time with me, and he'd go spend a lot of time with other reps. And I once asked my boss, Jeff, I said, "Hey, Jeff, why do you spend so much time with others and you don't come see me?" He says, "John, I love you. You do a good job, so I can leave you alone." On top of that, I get robbed or my car gets damaged every time I come to your territory. And we meet at Bob's Big Boy, I just don't like coming to your territory. He says, "You ought to meet me in a nice part of town, and then I might like you more." And so anyway, and I got robbed so many times. And as a matter of fact, he told me, he said, "Every time your car gets hit by somebody, just don't go get it fixed right away. Wait for 3 or 4 or 5 hits, and then go get it fixed, so that we can save a little money on that."
Nice.
So yeah.
And that's what you did.
And that's what I did. Yeah. Yeah. I would save it for 3 or 4 or 5 times. I once got hit in I was in front of a Price, club store, and I was the only car in the parking lot. I was doing paperwork before the store opened, and there was a guy with grocery carts, and there was nobody else in the whole.
Your car's the only car in the parking lot.
And the only car in the parking lot, and all of a sudden, I hear a bang, and the car goes like this, and sure enough, the guy hit. He had his headphones on, he wasn't paying attention, and ran right into the car and left a huge dent on it. Of course, I got out and cussed him out, and he said, he turned around and he says, "Sorry, man," and kept going. And that was the end of that. So, welcome to work. And then I just went on, and I told my boss, he goes, "What happened this time?" I told him the story. He says, "Go get it fixed. Because it makes you look bad and makes our company look bad." So, because it was a big dent.
It's an interesting start. So then what then moved you into the path of culture?
So I worked for some really bad bosses, and I said, nobody should have to tolerate this.
Yeah.
And I said, some of them might be just bad because they're bad people. Probably a lot of them are bad because they just haven't had a lot of training around it. So I was fascinated by reading books about management and about leadership and about coaching. And then, eventually, through all my work life, I worked at big companies. I even was the director of marketing at a winery, which was really fun. And I was in charge of cigars. And that was a lot of fun. If you want to make a friend with a guy, all you have to do is give him a cigar and he'll be your friend for life, I found out. And then if you give him wine, even better. So it was a fun job, and I really got to see things, from another perspective. So it was, but anyway, as I went through all the jobs, I said, man, there's got to be a better way to do this. There's got to be more training for managers, for leaders, because the difference between the good ones and the bad ones was sometimes training and sometimes just human nature. Some of them were better than others.
Yeah.
Totally. So at 40, I stumbled into a job doing facilitation and sales and management training for a European company, and loved it, and then started my own company about 8 years ago.